Okay, so now, hey, we have started our meeting. And this is our Christ candle. And really, what it represents is that we're acknowledging the presence and the power of the Christ energy, that lives within each of us. We are it, and it is us, and we give thanks. And so we're very honored today to have Karie Hillery as our speaker. And she has been with us for over 10 years, sharing her beautiful music and inspiring talks. And so she sings and plays the piano and has a great talk for us. So I'd like to welcome Karie, and I'd like her to sing Surely the Presence for us. Okay, Karie.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the light is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the light is in this place. Surely the presence of the light is in this
Beautiful, beautiful, Karie. Let me read the invocation affirmation. And just remember, this is who we are. There is only one presence and one power active in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. There is only one presence and one power active in Unity, Clear Lake Center, God, the good, omnipotent. And finally, there is only one presence and one power active in our world, God, the good, omnipotent. And the 5 basic ideas of unity is the basic foundation of unity. First, God is absolute good, everywhere present. Next, human beings have the spark of the divine spirit within them, the Christ consciousness within. Therefore, they are inherently good. Human beings create their experience by the activity of their thinking. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Then prayer is the process that affirms our connection with God mind and brings forth wisdom, healing, and everything good. Finally, knowing and understanding universal laws, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. And now, Karie would like to sing a song for us. Okay, Karie, it's yours.
over me. I let the truth wash 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 over me. I let the grace 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 wash over me. I let the joy 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 wash over me.
Wow, 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 wow. Loved it. It's fun to be on mute because you can make noises, get up and dance if you want. It's all good. Anyway, Karie. So moving on, the daily word for today on Sunday, June the 23rd. Okay. Um, it's on generous. I honor the divinity in others through my generosity. There have been times when I relied on the generosity of others. I remember feeling grateful when they shared what they had with open hearts, not thinking of how I might repay their kindness. This is the true gift of generosity, not just the material offered or the services rendered, but the feeling I am worthy of someone's time, treasure, and effort. This love and compassion is at the heart of the generous impulses, too. I give not out of pity or even out of an obligation or duty, but so others may know their worthiness through me. Each person is a divine being made in the image and likeness of God. I honor each person's divinity by doing what I can to help and support them as others have helped and supported me. From Proverbs 22:9, those who are generous are blessed, for they share their bread with the poor. Generosity, I honor the divinity in others through my generosity. And I am so honored to have Karie as our speaker today. I take notes. I always get key phrases like, how about that committee in my brain from last one before? Different things that Karie says as she gives her talk. So Karie, I give the screen over to you. Bye-bye.
The affirmation that I wanted to start with this morning is I breathe gentleness into all the ways our communities and our cultures evolve. So I want to say that one more time. I breathe gentleness into all the ways our communities and cultures evolve. So probably some of you have noticed, as well as I have, that things are pretty polarized these days, probably more than ever, and especially politically. It seems that the news media, a lot of our communications with our loved ones who may not be on the same side of the spectrum as us, and it's kind of been politically, socially, and even social media. We're getting deluged with messages and information that may be at complete odds with how we're feeling. So I love this expression of giant gentleness. And that's kind of going to be the focus of my talk, is how we can emulate basically compassion and kindness into the world. And the image that comes up for me when I first heard giant gentleness is this visual of these great arms of light and love reaching through all the anger and the separation and the divisive energy that seems to surround us, and just wrapping us up in this warm hug of compassion and understanding and gentleness. So in these moments when we are conscious of our oneness with everyone else, there's an openness and an all-encompassing love, a giant gentleness that we more than ever in these times need to learn how to be that and how to practice that. Because it's up to each of us to bring compassion, empathy, and love into every situation, especially the most challenging ones. I mean, it's really easy to love my grandson is visiting, and he is the most beautiful little cherubic doll, and it's easy to love him. But when somebody's a jerk on the freeway, it's a little harder to try to get to that place. But this is our work here. The place to begin is at home, in our hearts and in our minds. And we need to strive to bring our highest and our best into every situation, especially the most divisive. So I like to think about that it starts in the real world, like that idiot that just cut you off on the freeway, or the person who was rude to you in line in the store. To be able to move as quickly as we can from whatever initially comes up, the feeling insulted or the anger, to allowing space and grace to acknowledge that we don't know what's going on in that person's life. We don't know if they're racing because they just got a call that their child is sick at school and they need to get there, and they're only being given 20 minutes off from their job to go take care of this. We don't know if that cranky checker that's checking out your groceries, we don't know if they're taking care of a parent with Alzheimer's. We don't know anybody else's stories. So it's really important for us to start right in our hearts and start working on giant gentleness. And there's the simple acts of kindness that we can do when we're out in the world, like maybe allowing somebody to go in front of you in line if they only have a few items, or if you're not in a hurry, even if they have a basket full but they have a squalling infant, or even offering to hold the baby for a minute. I mean, there's just the simplest things that we can do that show love and compassion to people around us. And then there's the big stuff. Things like really getting to a place where we can listen without judgment to someone who just needs to vent, to just show up as a kind and loving ear. There is the inner work that we can all do to move beyond our anger and our opinions and our judgments, to embrace active compassion in our relationships with others. And I think it's really time more than ever for us to make a conscious choice to breathe gentleness into our personal relationships and our communities and the world at large. It's a tall order. I realize I say this and it sounds like it's something that's going to be really simple, and I acknowledge it's not. But the more that we're willing to bring the best that we have, our kindness, our love, into every situation, this is a life-changing activism that we can fully embrace.
Everyone deserves compassion and kindness, even the jerk who just cut you off on the freeway or flipped you off because you didn't see them and you accidentally cut them off. We've all accidentally done things that we didn't mean to do. So we need to recognize that everyone deserves our compassion and kindness. And it's important to recognize that gentleness is actually a really powerful thing. I mean, Jesus said the meek shall inherit the earth. And he's not just kind of blowing smoke there. It's true. If you think of the power of the people that are my personal heroes, the Jimmy Carters and the Martin Luther Kings and the Nelson Mandelas that were willing to forgive people that treated them horribly, that imprisoned them, that spit on them, from Martin Luther King to Mandela spending all those years in prison. He made a conscious decision to forgive his captors and to treat them lovingly. And it's like that. I think I've talked before with this congregation about the act of gentle blessing, of just being willing to move past our own discomfort about things and just getting into a better and more loving place. It's all the moments of our lives that are sacred and holy, even the really sucky ones. So I want to hopefully put up a quote. Ernest tells us, if we would look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other. That's pretty key. If we would look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other, because that's where the essence of God lives. We must look away from the differences until we penetrate into the unity of the whole. Love alone reveals love. Hate but hides the gleam. So that's a pretty powerful thought. That not only are we surrounded by love, but we are love. And that's what our purpose is here in our little separate earth suits. Our job is to love other people, to show up and to live in that knowing of the interconnectedness, the oneness of all living things, including our connection to Mother Earth. So what about that annoying coworker or the boss who talks down to you, or that rude guy who works at the post office? So I have a story about Mike. He was our postmaster here in Boulder Creek when I first moved here. And I remember the first time I went to the post office and I saw him behind the counter, and he was having kind of a, I don't know, not heated, but sketchy, kind of irritated interaction with the guy in front of me in line. And I remember making a conscious decision that I was going to try and win Mike over, that I was just going to be nice to him. Because I could see that the more testy the guy was with him, the more testy he got back to the guy. So I went, okay, well, I'm just going to up there. I'm going to be extra nice. So I was, and I complimented him on how efficiently he seemed to be handling things, and that I was glad that it was a small community and that I would know the post office master and that I would see him often, and just little things to kind of create a relationship with him. And he visibly softened in our interaction. And I determined that I was going to have a good relationship with him. And over the next several months, I've learned things about him, and he actually would greet me with a smile. And I thought, well, this is great. So a few months later at a rehearsal, one of my players who lives actually right down the street from the post office said something about, God, I'm so sick of that jerk at the post office. And I knew immediately who he was talking about. And I said, oh, and he said, his wife always has problems with him and he's kind of rude and condescending. And I said, well, I've seen that side of Mike. But did you know that he used to be a Marine? And, maybe that's kind of why he's so uppity with some of us. And I just try to be nice to him. And, he's actually really a nice guy. I treat him respectfully and I'm as kind as I can. And, maybe you should try that. And it was about 2 months later that my musician buddy said that he confessed that he had changed his attitude toward Mike. And kind of tried to do what I did and engage him and ask questions and thank him and be complimentary, and that maybe Mike wasn't such a big jerk after all. So it made me really happy that my buddy was willing to do that. So Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of Science of Mind, I find him to be quite a wise guy in a good sort of way. He's a good, wise guy. So here's another quote by Ernest. Life is not only where we are, it is what we are. It is in us as well as around us, and its whole impulsion is love. The universe does rest on the shoulders of love. Love is the real lodestone of life. So that's pretty powerful. And I don't know if I'm the only one that doesn't know. I didn't know what lodestone was. I'm like, wow, what's a lodestone? So I looked it up. And what I discovered is the dictionary says most often lodestone is associated with good luck, affluence, love, and positive energy flow. Its physical magnetism is seen as a symbol for its ability to attract good things into one's life. Lodestone is also connected to Mother Gaia, and its magnetic field is even in tune with that of the earth. So Holmes' quote uses this analogy of lodestone that it's associated with drawing positive energy to us. So it also has this important connection to the Mother Earth as well. And most of you know I was born on Earth Day, so I have a lovely and wonderful connection to the Mother. So I hope that we can take a moment to recognize that how we tread on the Mother Earth is pretty much in a direct reflection of not only our respect for the earth, but our respect for ourselves and each other and all of the living things that we share this planet with. I mean, isn't it interesting how some of the most conscious people among us seem to have a very deep respect and connection to Mother Earth? They tread lightly, they recycle, they pay attention to how their carbon footprint affects the planet. And to me, that shows a really deep respect for all sentient, all living beings. So I hope some of you have, and we're all extensions of this love, this energy. It's important to remember to be quiet enough to hear and connect with this grounding and beautiful power that is from our Mother Earth. I hope some of you have seen the movie What the Bleep. It's Emoto's movie, and he does. So I think it would probably be considered a documentary. And the study that he did was on how energy affects water molecules, and he shows heavy metal music being played, and the molecules are all like they're kind of snowflakes, but they're all really distorted and weird. And then he plays some classical music, and they're these beautiful, totally symmetrical, gorgeous, like snowflake looking drops of water. And it's so amazing. And that to me is such a big indicator of how powerful our energy is. We are all just energetic beings. So Emoto shares with us this quote, which I love. Whenever you sit in front of water and send out messages of love and gratitude, somewhere in the world, someone is being filled with love and gratitude. And I swim. This is a picture of my little beach where I swim every day when I'm in San Pedro. And I feel that energy. When things are wacko in the world, when there's some big upset, I can feel it. And I know myself and two of the other women that we call ourselves the mermaids, that when we get in the water, it's a really holy practice for us. It's exercise, and it's a little bit of our social time, but it's my meditation. It's a time where I try to send as much love. I mean, water covers most of this planet. So I try to be in the most peaceful place that I can be emotionally. And oftentimes I ask the mother to help me get there. When I'm in that water, I will lay back and just be rocked by the waves. It's a very great transmitter of energy. So I encourage people, even just if you're sitting by a stream or if you're out by Lower Lake and Clear Lake, I encourage you to just go sit by that lake and put some love and some blessing and some good energy into that. And knowing that people out there on their jet skis and their boats or who are swimming, they're going to feel that. That's going to come into their systems. And I totally believe this is true because I have felt it. So our politics and social activisms have become so polarized, at least in my world, that we need to be aware that we all don't see things the same way. We don't all source our news from the same sources. And we don't, sadly, we don't all share the same value systems. So getting caught up in this blaming other people and hating other people does everyone a disservice. Gentleness asks us to act rather than react. So I know I have shared the practice I was taught by Michelle Whittington, a minister in Arizona. She's now the president of AGNT, which is the Associated New Thought Network. But she said, in any situation where you start to feel triggered, you ask, what would love do here? And then you listen, and then you do it. And I wrote a song in the last couple years on that exact topic. So I want to share that with you.
What would love do here? The answer lives inside. Trusting through the fear, pushed beyond our pride. What is it that we're searching for? What is it that we need? It's found beyond our selfish ways, and it thrives beyond our greed. Oh, love, yes, love. What would love do here? Love can heal the world. That's what love, that's what love, that's what love can do. What is it that is mine to do? Can it really be the change? Is kindness really powerful? And why is hate to blame? Every time I look around, and everything I see, love is what we're longing for, and love is all we need. Oh, love, yes, love. What would love do here? Love can heal the world. That's what love, that's what love, that's what love can do. That's what love, that's what love, that's what love
So I think the most important part of that practice is to really, I mean, sometimes we don't have the time because we'll get triggered and we just have to very quickly go, okay, what is the most positive way I can respond to what's happening? And then just do it. For me, doing this practice more and more and more, it becomes pretty much second nature. When I see quibbling starting, I usually will find a way to diffuse it as quickly as possible by either making a joke or saying something like, "Wow, you seem really upset about that. Can we talk?" Instead of just getting caught up in the yuck. And the same goes for when we're working on practicing tolerance and compassion. And it's important to choose our battles carefully, especially, I mean, for me, as we're, ramping up to this next election, I just see things getting so intense with people that I know love each other and they're just being hateful to each other because they're on opposite sides of the political spectrum. So we do need to sometimes just agree to disagree and move on, because that's going to be the healthiest way out of whatever the confrontation is. And this doesn't mean abandoning our causes, only that sometimes making peace and walking away is the best path in these situations. The same goes for getting buried in social media. The algorithms are going to keep spinning us in the same thought patterns. So perhaps weaning ourselves off of the 24-hour news cycle can be a healthy and effective way to be a little more open to at least listening to different thoughts and viewpoints. And we can still, if we've done our homework and we feel confident in what our path is, what our belief systems are, what our actions moving forward would best serve us and the world, then we can just hold to what we believe. And we don't have to be swayed by somebody else's information. But I think it's really important to that we have if we allow ourselves to be tolerant, then we have at least the possibility of understanding where another opinion might have originated from, rightly or wrongly. But at least we can understand where this person went sideways in a place that to us is so obvious isn't right. And this is everything from policies at work. I mean, I'm part of a polar bear club, and it's a swim club, and we get lockers and we get parking passes, and most of us just swim by ourselves. And once a month there's a potluck, and there's been a little friction there over the use of the polar bear room, and I see the pettiness of it because I'm not directly involved in the altercation between the people who have their their, as we call it, their bloomers in a bunch or their boxers in a bunch. So I'm glad that I have the distance from it to see how silly it is. And yet I know the people involved, I know enough about their stories, and we so important that we remember. And I say this every time I speak, everybody has a story and we don't know what it is. So we just need to allow the grace and the space and trust that people have a reason for why they're acting out, whatever direction they're acting out in. So, in any situation when tension is rising or there's an uncomfortable challenge right in our face, it's just so important for us to take a deep breath and say, you know, what what does love do here? What is my job as a loving being, as an extension of our creator, who is love? That's just the energy of love. What's my job here to do? And, the answer lives inside us, and we have to trust and push past our egos and our pride. And sometimes it's hard, but there is something for each and every one of us to do in every situation, in every interaction. And to me, I just try to be kind, pay somebody a compliment, smile at the guy who's trying to get $1 while you're at that stop sign. Even if you don't do anything beyond that, you're acknowledging their presence as a human being. So the power of love to heal, that this giant gentleness and compassion to move the needle towards peaceful resolutions is beyond our wildest imaginations. It takes practice and learning to really pause and listen for the guidance and pay attention to the guidance. Sometimes the biggest hit I get is to just remove myself from the situation. I don't have to say or do anything. I can just turn and walk away. And sometimes it's to get the hands on both chests and say, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Can we agree that we all want this outcome? And what's your idea of how to get that outcome? And I need you to listen. And then what's your idea? And I need you to listen. And, I find myself often in that position. I'm sure I've shared that my best friend's father worked for the UN and he was the great negotiator. And I think probably the greatest gift he taught me was to try and find any common ground, any common thread that the parties that are arguing can agree upon, and then build from there. And that can be as simple as negotiating with my 2-year-old grandson that it's time to go to bed. And can we agree that you're tired? So maybe it would be better if you went to sleep and weren't screaming and making all the rest of us tired. So it's all just things that we can do. So Lisa Nichols has a great question to ponder. She's quite brilliant, and it's it's almost sarcastic the way this is presented, but to me it's perfect. How much sense does it take for us to give the problem all the energy, as opposed to focusing on trusting and loving? So how much sense does it make for us to give the problem all the energy? How much sense does it make for us to give the negative things that are going on all our energy? To me, it makes the most sense to focus on the outcome that we want, the positive outcome that we want, and to focus our energy on that, because what we resist persists. So perhaps focusing on the beauty of the change we wish to co-create of a more inclusive, loving world, wouldn't that be a much better expenditure of our time and energy than being angry and frustrated with the status quo? Maybe if we vision and envision the world that we really want to see, we can bring that into reality. I know that we can. We are the visionaries. We need to act like we are. So we can all soften our hearts and still remain strong and committed to what we believe in, to our desire to move the world in a more peaceful and respectful and healthy and loving direction. That's what it is is ours to do. We are the change we've been waiting for. So I want to share a song by my friend Harold Payne and his co-writer Bunny Hull. And I want to encourage you to let love support you and let your love support others with giant gentleness as you navigate your life. Because we only get this shot this time here, so we might as well make the most of it.
And we watch the news in quiet desperation. It's easy to feel helpless, throw up our hands and say there's nothing we can do. Oh, we can dream when we close our eyes, or just stumble in the dark. We have more power than we'll ever know. In our hearts, whoa, whoa, we can make a difference in this world. turn the dark into the light. Oh, 100 monkeys, so the story goes, caused a revolution. And one by one they started a chain reaction that began an evolution. The ocean started with a drop of rain, the desert with one grain of sand. All it takes is one to realize that we can. Yes, we can. Whoa, whoa. We can make a difference in this world. Touch somebody, oh, to love someone. Whoa, whoa, we can make a difference. Single candle in the night can turn the dark into the light. Whoa. One by one, oh, we can dream when we close our eyes, or just stumble in the dark. We have more power than we'll ever know in our hearts, in our hearts. Whoa, whoa. We can make a difference in this world. Touch somebody, yeah, to love someone. Whoa, whoa, we can make a difference. We can make a difference. Touch somebody, yeah, to love someone. Love someone. Oh, love someone.
Thanks so much for having me. It was wonderful to see you all. So I'm going to turn it back over to Barbara.
Okay. Does that work? Thank you, Karie. Oh my goodness. Yes, lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. You always come through. Down to earth. I think that's what my husband Hank always loved about Karie was she talks about the way it is, and we did enjoy it very much. So I'd like to go ahead, and you do have a closing song, at the very end, yeah. So we're good. So stay for that, and then announcements have to do with the future talks, and the church will be open next Sunday with Sarah Merlin. God's healing toolbox. So she's going to have a box. She's going to keep pulling things out. She is so wonderful, and she'll have Art Freeze there doing the music with his band, I hope. And but he'll be there singing, and man, he's great with his guitar and the fun. It's really a fun service at church next Sunday at 10:30. And then the July newsletter will be coming out on July the 1st. And there you have the usual wonderful Patricia there, the first and third Sunday, with the potluck and everything on the third Sunday. And then the Zoom services next month, July 14th. Will Tuttle, the piano is amazing, and his talks are beautiful. And then on the 28th, we'll have Marjorie Brock. She wasn't able to give her talk a few months ago due to what happened to her. But she is back, and we're looking forward to her first time. So July newsletter coming out July the next week, next first. And so as we move along, oh yes, well, donations are much appreciated. And yeah, just mail to Unity P.O. Box 755 in Lower Lake 95457. Unity P.O. Box 755, Lower Lake 95457. And thank you. So appreciated. So, the prayer for protection is what I like to do here. Oftentimes, leads into um, Karie's song. And so, let's just, yeah, if I can, I know it by heart, but I still like to have it. So this we're going to say, and then we'll lead into Karie's song, and then we'll stay for chats. So it's the main thing here is like the light of God surrounds us, but then remember, I am the light of God. You are the light of God. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, because I am, and all is wonderful. And we will have Karie with the closing song. Wonderful song.
Hi, I'd like to teach you a song that's a call and response and a sing along. So on the verses, I'm going to sing a line and you'll sing it back to me. And on the chorus, we'll all sing that part together. So let's have fun with this. I close my eyes, I open my mind, and I look inside. What do I find? A heart filled with joy, life touched by grace. I'm feeling love for the whole human race. There is enough. There is enough. Everybody, I am enough. We are enough. I let it go. And I open up. Embrace all I have. Give all I got. I open my heart, reach out my hands, sharing it all, 'cause I understand there is enough, there is enough. Everybody, I am enough, we are enough. I close my eyes, I open my mind, and I look inside. What do I find? A heart filled with joy, life touched by grace. I'm feeling love for the whole human race. There is enough, everybody. There is enough. I am enough. We are enough. 'Cause there is enough. There is enough. I am enough. We are enough.